I call to order the School District of the City of Dearborn regular meeting, Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. The time is 7:42. Apologies. Our organizational meeting preceded this meeting and ran longer. Because the preceding meeting ran over, while the normal status for the blue cards is to give them by 7:10, we're going to have a 10-minute extension if any additional blue cards want to be turned in. At this time, I would ask for the call to order roll call.
Trustee Barry?
Here.
Trustee D'Ambrosio?
Here.
Trustee Moses?
Here.
Trustee Petrikov?
Here.
Trustee McDonald, apologies, I'll get that back. Absent. Trustee Watts? Here. President Thorpe?
Here, for the members of the public that are joining us in person and online, former President McDonald now was not able to join us. She had an emergency surgery a few days ago. We wish her a speedy recovery. Next item.
Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Ms. Hannah Faraj, Deer Park Principal, will introduce students who will lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sila, Amina, and Joseph will join me up here. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting the Deer Park Stars, Joseph Banquets, Amina Jones, and Sila Mowry to recite the pledge at tonight's meeting. We're honored to be here and to represent Deer Park Elementary. Thank you. So please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
If the students could come up here, we've got certificates of appreciation for them.
If you want to step up to the front of the desk.
Watch your step.
Sila. Thank you very much. Amina. Thank you very much. Joseph, thank you very much for what you did. Next item, please.
Superintendent's update, agenda items, retirements.
So I want to start with our recognition every month for our retirees. We want to both thank them for their years of service and congratulate them on their retirement. We have Michael Adjemi with 27 years of service, Miomir Anzevsky, over 5 years of service, Jane Mazza, over 32 years of service, Nadia Muzahem, over 25 years of service, Rosemary Schmizzy, over 31 years of service, Brian Teets, over 27 years of service. If we can recognize and congratulate them. And maybe Jane could stand since she's here. I don't know if anybody else is here, but. Okay. And they will get letters or cards from me as well. Wish them all the best. So I'll just go along, President and Trustee Watts. So I just wanted to give an update at COVID. Our numbers have maintained pretty low throughout the district. I know we were dealing with different viruses that were going around, but Wayne County did put out a notice. We have that updated on our website. It has some recommendations in there from the county health department. We have it on our COVID page, but our nurses do a great job. Our crisis team meets every month, and we also have that on our agenda for discussion weekly when necessary. So we continue to monitor the numbers and we get the data, but it has been maintained very low, as I know the board receives the data every week on COVID numbers. I also want a real positive. I want to commend several people. I know we had several trustees and we had some real positive press on our electric school bus grant. So our district continues to seek out grant funding to save the local taxpayers money. And we received a grant of the 7.1 million from EPA for up to 18 buses and infrastructure. And we also have a separate grant for one school bus from the EPA and other federal government. And so I want to commend a few individuals because we did get to go on that bus, and some of us rode on the bus. If you remember, just before the holidays, we were at the Henry Ford Estate, and it was greatly put on by David Mustin and his team. Katie, Jacob, Joanna, Eric, Jacob, they all did a great job. I want to thank Mark Andrews, and I want to thank Rick Sortrez, who took the lead on writing the grant. So if I could just recognize them for a job well done. It was a wonderful event. Thank you so much. Also, in our spirit of just transparency, we've already put this out, but I want to mention that, we've been trying to spend through our federal funding, through our ESSER, through our dollars that will go away, that have to be spent. We've been trying to spend a lot on infrastructure through general fund. As the board's aware, we've talked about it many times. And we put out a notice that up to $100 million that we've put in from ESSER and other grants and other funding sources to save the local taxpayers' money on infrastructure, so that if we do, as we're going to have the fielding study later on, when the board has to make difficult decisions, we've already done things and acted in a very responsible manner, along with seeking out grant funding to supplement that. And Mr. Wall will give a more detailed report, hopefully at the February board meeting on this issue. I just want to mention to the public, we will have our strategic plan and the board is aware, I believe, through Ms. Faraj's memos, is up for renewal at the end of this year. This will be my third cycle. It'll start in April, and we'll be going through that same process that we've used the last 2 times over the 3-year period. And with that, we do have our accreditation. Cognia, we're up for renewal. They did postpone everything under COVID for about a year, but we will have the Cognia Accreditation Association coming to provide a report to the board, hopefully at the March board meeting if possible. But that is something that we've been doing for several years, and we're proud of the fact that we're accredited nationally by the Cognia Association. And Ms. Faraj and her team really do an outstanding job there. I also want to, thank you. I have today here, and he was approved at the previous board meeting. I'm going to call him up. Michael Grulix is the new athletic director at Etzel Ford. If we can congratulate him. Let him introduce himself.
Thank you, Dr. Malenko and Board of Education for approving the hire. Ms. Hassan as well, and I'm excited to get started. This is day 4 for me, so we have 3 sporting events tonight, swimming, JV girls basketball, and varsity girls basketball versus Inner City Baptist, so hit the ground running, and Mr. Silver has been an awesome mentor and helping me out along the way so far.
Wonderful. Glad to have you on the team.
Thank you, guys.
I have some good news, thanks to our technology department, and I think the board knows that we've been working very hard. We've listened to the community the last several months about the ability to select library books. We've put out a process that's been vetted well through our attorneys. We've had Mr. Martin and Dr. Groover come up several times and present. We've stayed on top of it. So we do have some good news, because we said we've heard the voices of, can we make it a little easier for parents? So our technology has created, through Mr. Addy and the IT department, working with Mr. Martin, Dr. Groover, and others, the ability to have a larger list, a list of appealed books that a parent will be able to opt out for the entire list if they choose to do so. So I think that's good news. It gives parents some additional choices there. They can still choose to just do the individual system if they want, but this will allow them to basically say, I don't want any book that was challenged. It'll be on a list, and then they would have that ability, if they choose, to opt out of those books. So I think that is us, the board, listening to the community. I appreciate the direction of the board for us to be able to do that. And again, I got to credit Dr. Groover, the media specialist, and the staff, Mr. Martin, for the hard work, and then Mr. Addy, Mr. Kennenberg in the IT department, because they were able to make the technology work. It's not yet 100% ready, but it will be soon. So I think that's some very positive news. Again, that's us listening to the community, trying to accommodate everyone on all sides, and giving parents their choice. I also want to commend, every year I've been participating in mock interviews at Etzel Ford, and Mr. Pletsky invited me again this year, and I'll be going in a couple of days. We have a lot of community members and professionals that donate their time, and I appreciate that as well. I was over at Dearborn High last month, and I got to tell you, our high school seniors, they do an outstanding job. It was so professional. They go through the process. I really enjoyed it. I do every year. I get an email after sent to me thanking me for the ability to interview them, and I do think it's a great experience for them. So I think Mr. Police over at Dearborn High and all the staff that it's other staff that are involved in this. It's a lot of coordination, and then Mr. Pletsky now and others at Etzel Ford. It's a very positive thing, and maybe at some point we might be able to have them come and present before the board because I think it's a great program. They offer a realistic opportunity for our students. And that's all I had. Again, last thing, Happy New Year. Wish everyone all the best for 2023. This is going to be a great year. I hope everyone had some good downtime over the holidays. Looking forward to working with everyone, and I truly wish you, your families, this is a great school community in Dearborn. I'm now approaching my 28th year working in the district, and I love working here with all of you, and I want to thank the board, thank the staff, I want to thank the parents, and I want to thank the students. As the board knows, and I look forward every year, the students do a great job, my Student Advisory Council, and they are putting together a great event on Monday for the Martin Luther King. They go out in the community and do charitable things, and so we're very proud of them and appreciate being part of this wonderful school community. Thank you.
Any questions for Dr. Malenko on anything that he had? Trustee Petlishkoff?
Just one quick question. I know that we're basically piloting the electric bus, the one that we have. The grant for future buses, does it have a timeline on it? Do we have enough time to have enough data from the bus we do currently own and are using to know whether and how we want to move forward with adding to our electric fleet with the future grant?
You see Mr. Wall, he's probably better positioned to answer that, but I do think we're using it as a pilot, and then some of that is still on its way from the federal government, is that
Right,
correct?
just to be brief, we just got the first electric bus right before
Right.
the holidays in December, so we're starting to use it now. The budget award letter will let us know how much we can use for infrastructure and how much we can actually use for buses. Since we're entering the market for electric buses, we'll most likely use as much as we can from the infrastructure part of that grant. From there, we'll decide how many buses after that we can actually purchase up to the 18. I know Mark and his staff have been looking at the background of, the whole infrastructure side. So we are starting to look into other things like, do we have to keep the buses inside a pole barn for wintertime? Those are the things we're investigating now to make decisions later.
But yeah, I understand that, but is there a time frame where we would, if we have the grant money that I know normally you have a deadline that you have to have it spent.
Typically, there's a deadline set in the grant and you
Yeah.
can ask for additional year beyond that. But we don't even know how long the buses are going to take to get here. The last one took
That's
about
why
8
I'm
months.
asking all these
Right.
questions of, are we going to have enough time to experiment with the one we do have and know if it meets our needs the way we had anticipated it would? And two, then, if we have delays, I don't know what's built into this grant, and does it just go away?
Most likely we'll end up appealing to the entity, the EPA that provided the grant money, depending on what the timetable we get from the vendor when we actually get to that.
Okay, so you don't really have that answer yet?
Not till we actually
Fine.
get the award
Okay.
letter.
All right,
Correct.
thank you.
Trustee Moses?
Well, congratulations to the district. Something that I've always asked for a grant writer and something that we need in our district in order to save the taxpayers money instead of asking them in bonds for transportation that we do offer for our students. My question is, on those buses, are they equipped to transport our special ed students?
So the one that we just purchased, no, but we can. They are available that we can, and that's something that we're looking into. Yeah. I do want to add to Mr. Wall, this grant it's not to add buses to our fleet. We have to take one off for each one that we
Right.
purchase.
And that's why I want to make sure that we know that these buses, if we're going to be replacing existing buses that we already have experience with and know the viability of them, we're pretty new to an electric bus's longevity and issues. I want to make sure that before we start taking old diesel buses out of the system and replacing them with electric buses, that we've already got enough experience with the one we have before we start investing in something that we end up being left short of buses because these electric buses don't meet the needs that we thought they would.
Yeah, we
in
have
the
the same
future.
thought process.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Trustee Watts.
So going off of what Trustee Moses had said in terms of using the buses for our special education students, my two comments going forward. Number one, I think with our special education students, some of them do have sensitivity to noises. So I think that the electric buses are a bonus to be able to limit the amount of noise that a diesel would provide. However, I think knowing that also it's such a quiet bus, is there something that we could, a noise that we could add to the bus so that students who are blind can hear the bus coming? So I don't know how that would work for transportation, but just two things that I was thinking going forward to think of. And also the weight of the wheelchairs and how that would affect the mileage of the EVs.
So, good questions. I'm not aware of anything that we can add for the noise. And we're still looking into the wheelchair lift buses. So we should have more information to come as we move forward. Right now, we're really focusing on the charging stations right now. And estimates that we're getting right now, it's going to be substantial amount of money. So after we get through that portion, we'll be able to look deeper into the buses.
And then have we also discussed the discounted charge rate with DTE?
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Dr. Maleko?
I just wanted to add too that along with it being environmental friendly, we're the first one we know in the state, we would have to replenish them, I think Trustee Moses mentioned, through the bond or through general fund. So it does save taxpayer dollars locally, of course, because this is federal dollars. But I understand what Trustee Petlicoff's saying. We just have to be on top of that. And I think there's a lot of people looking at us, and we're going to have a lot of attention to this as we move forward with it. So it's a great opportunity, but we'll be cautious. Thank you.
Any additional comments? Next item.
Recognition and acknowledgements. First, commendations.
For district, commendations to the district's music teachers for working to attract more students into the music programs. Commendations in particular to Fortson High teacher Dan Taylor, who's organizing another recruitment concert on March 13 to help promote middle school music programs in his feeder track.
Commendations to Nada Al-Madin, Nicole Beckham, Marisol Casido, and Kitty Shushanian in Human Resources. The Michigan State Police recently conducted a fingerprint and background history audit, including looking at the district's process, policies, forms, and security. The district was in 100% compliance, which the MSP auditor said has never happened before.
Commendations to Shiam Thacker, behavior consultant, who received a recognition letter from Governor Whitmer's office after being recognized as a grand prize winner in Norwegian Cruise Line's Giving Joy contest. The annual contest recognizes outstanding teachers from across the U.S. and Canada.
Commendations to Carrie Bazzi from Henry Ford Early College, Kim Shrover from Dearborn Center for Math, Science, and Technology, and Manar Kodama from Student Services. The three women led 2 online presentations in December for parents and students interested in learning about some of our high school options that start in the 9th grade.
And finally, commendations to the Dearborn High Women's Ensemble for their performance at the Metro Bureau Dinner for stopping by to carol at the district's Administrative Service Center in December. Thank you.
Before you go anywhere, come on back up to the mic. Your names were listed, but could you please introduce yourselves?
My name is Selma Al-Awali.
And what school?
I am from Etzel Ford High School.
And what grade are you?
I am a senior at Etzel.
I'm Jad Berry. I'm a sophomore at Etzel Ford High School.
Trustees, do you have any questions for our students? Do we put them on the spot? I will ask, what are you doing after Etzel Ford when you graduate this June?
So I hope to attend U of M Ann Arbor, and there I hope to enter the medical field, hopefully into dentistry. And those are my plans so far.
Good.
Go Blue.
Next item, please.
Acknowledgements of donations.
Good evening, Happy New Year. It's a long one, which is a good thing. We want long donations. A donation of $1,500 has been offered to William Ford Elementary School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for decodable books. A donation of $522.37 has been offered to Howe School by the Dearborn Ed Foundation to be used for musical instruments. A donation of $2,132 has been offered to Dearborn Public Schools by the Dearborn Ed Foundation to be used for mats for the district-wide art show. A donation of $825 has been offered to McCullough Elementary School by the Dearborn Ed Foundation to be used for books for classroom libraries. A donation of $373.79 has been offered to Dearborn High School by the Dearborn Ed Foundation. This was raised during the battle against hunger. A donation of food has been offered to Etzel Ford High School by Hype Athletics to be used for a Thanksgiving dinner for the newcomer students. A donation of food has been offered to Etzel Ford High School by Rafiq's Falafel to be used for Thanksgiving dinner for the newcomer students. A donation of food has been offered to Etzel Ford High School by Habib's Cuisine to be used for a Thanksgiving dinner for the newcomer students. A donation of $3,000 has been offered to Howard Elementary School by the Howard PTA to be used for library books to support the STEAM program. A donation of $200 has been offered to Salina Intermediate School by the Dearborn Goodfellows to be used for transportation costs for a field trip. A donation of $300 has been offered to Salina Intermediate School by Venture Title Agency to be used for transportation costs for a field trip. A donation of $200 has been offered to Salina Intermediate by the committee to elect Patrick D'Ambrosio to be used for transportation costs for a field trip. A donation of $300 has been offered to Salina Intermediate School by John and Nicole Golich to be used for transportation costs for a field trip. A donation of $300 has been offered to Salina Intermediate School by KW Legacy to be used for transportation costs for a field trip. A donation of $200 has been offered to Salina Intermediate School by the committee to elect Sam Baydoun to be used for transportation costs for a field trip. A donation of $200 has been offered to Salina Intermediate School by a committee to elect Alabas Farhat to be used for transportation costs for a field trip. A donation of 2 signs has been offered to William Ford Elementary School by Pro Signs to be used in the team room and in the lobby. A donation of $1,000 has been offered to Duval Elementary School by Zaid Omar to be used to purchase instructional materials. A donation of $2,000 has been offered to Miller Elementary School by Global Transit Incorporated to be used for Teacher Appreciation Week. That's great, $2,000 for Teacher Appreciation Week. And the last one is a donation of 8 boxes of office supplies, 12 scientific calculators, 12 trash cans, and 2 delivery carts has been offered to House School by Measurement Incorporated to be used to support the pre-vocational training opportunities for secondary and post-secondary special ed students, special education, SCI, SXI classrooms, and the green team recycling efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Board appreciation.
So I know that the board, this is Board Appreciation Month, and the board did receive a resolution that was sent from the Wayne County, and our resolutions have been going on. The Board of Education members, their responsibility, they develop policies, they make tough decisions that help shape the district now and in the future. They're responsible, as we're all aware, for the 3rd largest school district in Michigan, with an annual budget of over $336 million, an enrollment of 20,000 students, approximately 2,700 employees, and 37 buildings. In addition, Dearborn School Board trustees also serve as trustees for the college. I know President Cavalluna is here. They're the only school board trustees in the state that also serve as trustees for a local college. This dual responsibility means trustees spend twice the amount of time dedicated to serving the community. And I've seen it over many years since I've been not only here as superintendent, but as an educator. They evaluate both the superintendent and the college president and must keep abreast of issues, laws, legislation impacting both grades, preschool to 12th grade and the college. And they get a tremendous amount of information from myself and Joanne via board briefs to read every week, although we had a 2-week break for the holidays. I want to now recognize the individual trustees. Trustee Watts was one of the 3 trustees who won election to a 6-year term in 2020. Her term expires 2026. This is now her 3rd year serving on the board. Trustee Otto Mozip was initially appointed to the board in 2019 and won election to a 6-year term in 2020. This is his 5th year on the board starting. Trustee Mary Pletchkoff also won re-election in 2020, is scheduled to serve to 2026. She served for over 12 years. Trustee McDonald, who is not here, has served 8 years in total on the board after being elected in November 2011 and then again in 2018. President Jim Thorpe has served 6 years on the board after first being elected in November 2016 to a partial term. He was reelected in November 2008 to a full term, which expires in 2024. Trustee Pat D'Ambrosio has just completed 2 years, entering the 3rd year on the board, and was successful in November 2022 election, securing a 6-year term that will end in December of 2028. Trustee Hussein Berry has served on the board for 11 years in total. He too successfully won, or over 11 years, re-election to the board in November of 2022 and will serve a 6-year term. The Board of Education and the hundreds like it across the state preserve public education, a core of the United States democracy. They ensure that decisions on school programming are made by people elected to represent the community's values, culture, and circumstances. They are citizens whose decisions affect students and build the local community. And I don't want to speak for President Cavalluni because I know he'll have his time, but we both appreciate them, and so do our administration, our staff, our community. We thank you for your service to the community, and to show a small token of our appreciation. What better thing than Dearborn School's spirit wear? So you all have it, and I was glad we were able to get those orders put together so that when you're out at the different events, you can wear our spirit wear. If we could recognize them right now, I'd really appreciate it. And we know we've dealt with some challenges over the time, so we appreciate their ability to move forward. I also want to mention, we have a few staff members, and there's 3 that I'm aware of, and I do get an email from the superintendent of one of the districts every year, but they are board members. We have Dan Taylor, board member in Centerline, Danielle Elzayat, who's here, board member in Crestwood, and Nadia Berry, board member in Crestwood. I'm not aware of anyone else, but I also want to congratulate them on their service to the community. And again, superintendent does usually email me, so congratulations. Thank you.
Next item. Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Trustee Watts?
So just, I know all of us received an envelope from Duval's students, and I thought I read mine, and for board appreciation, I just wanted to read the one letter that was brought to us by the 5th grade class. And I saw Trustee Berry earlier. I didn't get a chance to open it. But this was the front, and it says, "Dear Mrs. Watts, thank you for making our school comfortable to learn in. Thank you for installing air conditioning so we don't sweat during early summer or fall. We are learning," highlighted, "and advancing higher and higher over the years because of you. And because of you, we're going to be more and more successful in our future life. And I hope you like the flower in the front, and thank you so much for taking care of us, for Mrs. Ranka and Mrs. Toludo's 5th grade class." And I just want to show that. And then on the back, it says goodbye, he. So I just wanted to say thank you to the teachers for putting this together and for leaving us a little present on our area. So thank you for that. So.
Thank you. Next item.
Staff recognition, noon hour supervisors.
Do we have any noon hour supervisors here? All right. So I set it all up before break, and I didn't send a reminder. So the noon hours that supervisors that were going to join us are not here today. So hopefully they're watching or they tune in to the video. So we wanted to say thank you to our noon hour supervisors. I read the quote recently that said, "You can't scare me because I'm the lunch lady." And the other one that I thought was funny was that I can't keep calm because I am the lunch lady. And I chuckled to myself because school lunch periods are oftentimes more stimulation than one may desire. And they choose to be there and they choose to get to know the kids and walk around and catching them throwing away their sandwiches while eating their chips. And they are in a very chaotic place. It's when the students have a less structured time of the day. And so thank you so much to our noon hour supervisors for keeping our kids safe, for making sure they eat their food, and giving them extra love and attention during the least structured time of the day. Speaking through my 9-year-old's eyes, and I could tell you some funny noon hour stories because she is probably one of his absolute favorite people in the building. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience and the relationships that you have with the kids and the support that you give to the staff and to the entire building. Feeding is definitely a work of art. Thank you to our noon hours, and they also received a certificate to their building.
Let's recognize them.
There was a few times where I visited my kids when they were in elementary school specifically, and it is controlled chaos during lunch hour, to put it politely. Next item, please.
Approval of minutes of the following Dearborn Board of Education meeting. Policy Committee meeting, December 5th, 2022, Board Report 22-65. Regular P12 meeting, December 5th, 2022, Board Report 22-66. Board Study Session, December 12th, 2022, Board Report 22-67. Recommended action, make any necessary corrections, and move approval of these minutes.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion by trustee Barry, support by trustee Petlicoff. Any corrections? All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Barry?
Yes.
Trustee D'Ambrosio?
Yes.
Trustee McDonald? Trustee Moses?
Yes.
Trustee Petlicoff?
Yes.
Trustee Watts, yes. President Thorpe?
Yes.